Okay, welcome back. We're going to do a quick study looking at the TAPS strategy that I taught you in the lecture. That is basically putting together all the pieces to come up with the main idea. And this is really when your main idea isn't explicit. Remember, sometimes the main idea will be the very first sentence or the very last sentence, or it'll be explicitly stated in the paragraph that you could literally just underline a word or a phrase or a sentence, and that would be the main idea. The implicit main idea is where we have to kind of read between the lines and just determine whether or not we can come up with our main idea when it's not the first, last, or sentence in the paragraph. So TAPS, remember, stands for topic, author's purpose, and structure. So we're going to attempt to read this, look at what the topic is, what the author's purpose is, what the structure is, and see if we can come up with a main idea. Gun control laws are not only a good idea, but they are absolutely necessary. With increases in the problem of school shootings, snipers, and other mass shootings, it is obvious we are not doing enough. The answer is simple. Create solid legislation that makes it more difficult for the average person to acquire military-grade weaponry. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is identify our topic. And remember, our topic is one or two words usually, and it is mentioned throughout. So let's look at the first sentence. Our topic here is going to be gun control. It's what's talked about throughout the entire paragraph. We're talking about gun control here. We're talking about legislation for gun control as well here. So that's really what we're talking about. You can also say shootings, because that's talked about throughout as well. Could be the topic. Let's look for the author's purpose. Why did they write this? Are they trying to persuade us to do something? Are they trying to inform us about gun control, about school shootings? Or are they trying to entertain us? Well, entertainment is pretty much an easy move out of the way. We can knock that off right away because there's nothing entertaining about this. We're getting information from this, and possibly we're trying to be persuaded, but we know we're not being entertained. And the reason we're not being entertained is because we don't see anything in here that's humorous. It's trying to evoke any sort of entertaining emotion in us. However, is it trying to make us think a certain way or do something? Let's look at the first sentence. Gun control laws are not only a good idea, they are absolutely necessary. So let's ask ourselves, is that something that could encompass the main idea? Does it talk about gun control laws being necessary? We're not doing enough. The answer is simple. Okay, so that may encompass the main idea. But we know that they're trying to convince us of something here. That is the key. They're trying to convince us to do something. And it says create solid legislation that makes it more difficult for the average person to acquire military-grade weaponry. That is a demand. And that's how we know it's persuasive. So we know the topic is gun control. We know they're trying to persuade us or make us think a certain way. Now we have to look at the structure. And remember, our common structures are compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem solution, description, and sequence. So is there a sequence here? Is there like a date, a time frame, something like that? Well, not really, because it's talking about the increase in school shootings, but then at the same time, it's talking about creating solid legislation, and those don't really necessarily follow each other. That's not really a timestamp that's on there. So let's think about, is it compare and contrast? Are we comparing and contrasting two different things? Could we say we're comparing and contrasting legislation and gun control? Well, not really, because those are the same thing. And we're not really showing what's similar and what's different. Some of our clue words or our signal words might be the answer and the increases in the problem of school shootings. So we know we have a problem solution. That is the structure of this paragraph. So putting that all together, we know it's about gun control. They're trying to make us to convince us to enact some legislation against, or for gun control rather, and we know that it is a problem solution structure. So I could create a main idea statement that essentially says that the main idea is, I'm going to abbreviate it because I think abbreviation's fun. The main idea is that our country needs more gun control laws. Agreed? Sounds like a pretty good main idea statement to me. So now when I see those multiple choice options, I'm going to use my own main idea statement to help narrow down those options, because remember, there are usually about 2 really good answers, 1 best answer, and 2 not good answers that aren't really aligned with what the answer is. So you want to create the statement so that you can then pick out the best solution. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you online.